My name is Mike Reynolds. I'm 42 years old. For the last 17 years, I've worked in IT infrastructure, the guy you never see, but the guy you always need when everything crashes. I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm not flashy. I'm not rich. But I've always taken pride in two things: providing stability and being loyal. Loyalty used to mean something to me, especially when it came to my wife, Danielle. We were married for 7 years, and I honestly believed we were solid. Not perfect, but solid. We had talked about kids. We had picked out our someday house. She said she needed more time to build her business, to work on herself, and I respected that. So, I worked harder. I took double shifts, extra contracts, remote clients in different time zones, just to earn us a better future. That's what I told myself. The bonus I got this year was the biggest I'd ever received, $48,000. Taxed, verified, cleared, and deposited into our joint account. Danielle smiled when I told her. Said she was so proud of me. That was on a Thursday. By Saturday night, she was gone. Not just from our house, from our entire life. When I opened the banking app Sunday morning, I stared at the screen for 5 straight minutes. It was like my brain refused to believe what I was seeing. The balance was $26. 26. I blinked. Refreshed. Same number. Then I saw the wire transfer. Timestamp 2:12 a.m. $47,896. All of it. I thought it was fraud at first, until I saw who it was sent to. It was her, Danielle, and it was followed by a note. Thank you for everything. I need to be free now. That's when I checked her location. She'd turned it off, but not before tagging herself in an Instagram story. From a beachfront condo in California, with a guy I recognized. His name was Brian. He was her personal trainer. She used to joke that he was too dumb to flirt. Apparently, he was just smart enough to help her steal everything I'd built. But what Danielle didn't know was what I had already done 2 weeks before she disappeared. Cue slow music shift. Camera zoom into black screen with soft ticking. Looking back now, it almost feels fake, the way things used to be. Like a memory someone else lived. Danielle and I met at a 4th of July barbecue in Boulder. I was helping a buddy set up speakers, and she was there with her cousin, laughing about how she couldn't figure out how to open a beer bottle without ruining her nails. She was vibrant, magnetic. She had this kind of energy that made you forget anyone else was in the room. We started dating 2 weeks later, and for the first couple years, everything just worked. She supported me through job stress, through late-night call-outs, through my mother's passing. I supported her as she built her online coaching brand, late-night edits, logo design, managing her site, even buying equipment when she couldn't afford it. She used to call me her anchor, her hero, her forever person. And I believed her. Our apartment wasn't big, but it felt like home. We'd stay in on weekends, binge old sitcoms, argue about pineapple on pizza, the usual. Every December, we'd drive to Estes Park, drink hot cocoa, and talk about where we wanted to be in 5 years. It was always our future, a house in the mountains, maybe 2 kids, maybe 3. She wanted chickens. I wanted quiet. She started seeing a trainer about 1.5 years ago, just casually at first. Said she needed more structure, more energy, less back pain. I was all for it. I even paid for the first 6 months up front as a gift. His name was Brian. Tall, tanned, The kind of guy who looked like he belonged on a reality show. She used to laugh at him, said he didn't know the difference between a protein bar and a granola bar. Too dumb to flirt, she'd joke. I didn't think anything of it. Then, little things started shifting. She got really into fitness, which was fine. But the way she talked changed. She'd mention Brian a lot. Then, she stopped mentioning him entirely. She stopped asking me to come to her events. She stopped making those late-night tea runs. We stopped talking about baby names. I chalked it up to stress. Business was hard, money was tight, and I was working myself to the bone trying to land a bonus that could buy us breathing room. That bonus, it felt like my chance to give us that future again. I kept telling myself, just push through. Danielle will see how much you care when this all pays off. And when I got it, she really did seem proud. She hugged me tighter than she had in months. She said, "You earned this. You really did." I believed her. I had no idea that she was already planning her escape. The first real crack wasn't even something big. It was a Tuesday night. I came home early from a server migration job, exhausted but happy. I picked up her favorite tie on the way. Usually, Danielle would be on the couch, in sweats, scrolling through her iPad, candles lit, music playing. But this time, the apartment was dark. Quiet. Her gym bag was gone. Her phone was still on the kitchen counter, screen face down, and unlocked. I didn't think much of it until I saw the notification flash. It was a text from someone named B. Just 2 words. "Still on for tomorrow?" I stared at it for a moment. I knew it could be anyone, a brand client, a friend, even a relative. But my stomach turned anyway, because I didn't know. And for the first time in 7 years, that felt like a problem. From that night forward, the air between us started to change. She started turning her phone on silent. Her workout hours got longer. I'd ask her how her session went, and she'd answer with one-word replies, barely looking up. There were nights she'd come home after 10:30 p.m., claiming, "Brian extended my cardio set." Once, I gently joked, "Is he training you or running a boot camp?" She didn't laugh. Just said, "You wouldn't understand." I told myself not to overthink, that I was being insecure. But the signs kept stacking. A mystery charge at a luxury juice bar, one we'd never been to. A double swipe on the joint card from a hotel bar 45 minutes away. When I brought it up, she said she was meeting a friend from her client list and must have used the wrong card. I nodded. I didn't believe her. She started showering right when she got home. Not sometimes, every time. Her gym clothes started disappearing before I could throw laundry in. She stopped tagging me in anything on social media. Then one night, 2:07 a.m., her phone lit up again. She was asleep beside me, but her screen flashed bright in the dark room. I tilted slightly. The message was from B again. It read, "Still thinking about last night. You looked incredible." I didn't touch her phone. I didn't say a word. I just stared at the message, and something inside me broke. Not loudly, not all at once, but permanently. I got out of bed, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and by the time I sat back down, I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a man with a plan forming in the back of his mind. 2 days after that 2:07 a.m. message, Danielle told me she'd be going on a weekend fitness retreat. 3 days. No service. Out in the desert somewhere with her coaching circle. She kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. Packed her shaker bottles, protein bars, yoga mats, all the props you'd expect. But something about her energy was off. She didn't pack her wedding ring. That little gold band she hadn't taken off in 7 years, now suddenly too tight for the trip. I said nothing, just nodded. "Enjoy yourself," I told her. But as soon as she pulled out of the driveway, I opened my laptop. I logged into our joint accounts, bank, credit, investment. Everything looked normal. Until Saturday morning. That's when my phone buzzed at 2:12 a.m. A new notification from the bank. Wire transfer complete. $47,896 sent to account ending in 8823. My heart sank. I refreshed the app. Thought it was some glitch. But the number didn't change. I scrolled down, and there it was. Her name on the transfer. Danielle R. Reynolds. I called the bank immediately, thinking maybe I could freeze it. But the funds had already cleared. She knew exactly what she was doing. I checked her location. Nothing. She had turned it off. But she forgot about one thing, the Instagram story that went public before she realized her mistake. It was her. Laughing. In a pool. Wearing sunglasses I bought her for our 5th anniversary. Sipping champagne. And beside her, shirtless, tanned, smug as hell, was Brian. He raised a glass to the camera as the video panned. Then leaned in and kissed her cheek like he'd already won. I sat there in silence. No screaming. No throwing things. Just silence. I replayed that video 3 times. And then I closed my laptop. Walked to the closet. Pulled out an old army green binder labeled, "Just in case." Inside it, my backup documents, hidden account details, and the contact information for a divorce attorney I met 6 months ago, back when I first started noticing the cracks. You see, she thought I was clueless. But what Danielle didn't know was this. 2 weeks before she drained our account, I had already drained hers. 2 weeks before Danielle's little retreat, I had already started preparing for war. Not with fists, not with fury, but with facts. It began the night I saw the 2:07 a.m. message on her phone. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. I studied her. Every lie she told after that became another piece of evidence in the folder I quietly built, file by file. First thing I did? I opened a brand new bank account, in my name only, and began shifting what little savings I had left into it, piece by piece. A few hundred here. A bonus check there. Every freelance payment went straight in. Slowly. Quietly. Undetectably. Next, I visited a friend, Marcus. Divorce attorney. We served together during my Army years. One call, and he gave me the starter roadmap. Right arrow document everything. Right arrow freeze any movable joint assets. Right arrow track spending. Right arrow never, ever tip your hand. So I played dumb. Every night, while she fake smiled and talked about client drama, I was building timelines, printing bank records, highlighting suspicious withdrawals. I checked our joint credit card, found charges at restaurants I'd never eaten at, spas I'd never heard of, hotels nowhere near her supposed coaching retreats. The condo she posted on Instagram? Found the listing. For $1,800 per month short-term luxury rental in Santa Monica. Paid up front. With my bonus. The twist? The week before she wired that $47,000 out. I had already contacted her old landlord. Her name? Was still on a lease for a previous apartment she never officially closed. She owed 3 months in back rent. I anonymously triggered collections. Then came the gym. I paid a private investigator, $600 retainer to spend 2 days near her personal training facility. One camera. One click. That's all I needed. Tuesday morning, Danielle and Brian leaving the gym. Hand in hand. Getting into his car. Kissing at a red light. Stopping at a Motel 6, where they stayed for 3 hours. PI mailed me timestamped photos, angles, and receipts. I uploaded everything to a Drive folder labeled Contingency Plan D&B. Then I froze our joint investment account. She hadn't touched that one yet, and couldn't without my approval. $38,000 locked away. I updated the beneficiaries list. Removed her name. And then, the real move. Danielle had a business. A growing online coaching brand. But what she didn't know was that I owned her domain. I'd registered it for her when she started. Paid for hosting under my name. All of it. And I still had full control. So before she could log in, I changed everything. Heavy checkmark passwords. Heavy checkmark backup emails. Heavy checkmark two-factor codes. I didn't delete anything. I just transferred ownership to a new admin, me. She didn't just lose a husband. She was about to lose her income stream. But I wasn't done. I scheduled our court filing for the Monday after her trip. By the time she came home thinking she'd won, I had already set the trap. Danielle came home from her little getaway on a Wednesday afternoon. I was sitting at the kitchen table, reading a book. Calm. Composed. She walked in wearing oversized sunglasses and a white designer hoodie I'd never seen before. She didn't say much. Just smiled like nothing had happened. She went straight to the bedroom, tossed her suitcase onto the bed, and hummed while unpacking. Not a word about the money. Not a word about the Instagram post. Not a word about Brian. Just vibes. Fake, hollow, arrogant vibes. That night, I made dinner like I always did. Set 2 plates. Poured her wine. She thanked me with a kiss on the cheek like nothing was broken between us. But I knew better. Monday morning, 9 a.m., courthouse. She got served in the driveway while holding her green smoothie. Divorce. Fraud. Asset theft. Intent to conceal funds. And full custody of digital and financial assets. Everything was already filed, time-stamped, notarized. She stormed back inside, face pale, hand shaking, yelling, "What the hell is this?" I just handed her a manila envelope and said, "Everything you're about to deny is in here." Inside, heavy checkmark PI photos. Heavy checkmark bank statements. Heavy checkmark wire transfer logs. Heavy checkmark screenshots of text messages. Heavy checkmark evidence of her trying to hide money through Venmo to Brian. Heavy checkmark lease agreements for the condo. Heavy checkmark hosting records for her business, with my name on every asset. Her hands trembled as she flipped through each page. She sat down slowly. For the first time in months, she had nothing to say. Court day came 2 weeks later. She showed up in a blazer 2 sizes too big, probably borrowed. Brian didn't come. I didn't expect him to. My lawyer laid out the full timeline. The judge, a quiet woman in her 60s, listened without interrupting once. Danielle tried to spin it. He was cold. He neglected me. I didn't mean to hurt him. But then, my lawyer hit play. A voice memo. Pulled straight from a shared cloud backup she forgot to disable. Her voice. Drunk. Laughing. Saying, "He's too nice to fight back. Once I get that bonus, Brian and I are out." The room went dead silent. The judge took off her glasses, looked Danielle in the eye, and said, You're not just guilty of betrayal. You're guilty of calculated financial abuse. In one ruling, the judge awarded me white heavy check mark 100% of our joint savings. White heavy check mark exclusive rights to her business platform. White heavy check mark recovery of the stolen bonus. White heavy check mark and a court-ordered garnishment on any future income until damages were repaid. Danielle? She left court with a few clothes, a frozen credit score, and the sudden realization that Brian had already ghosted her. Turns out, he bailed the moment the legal notice arrived. It's been 14 months since that day in court. Danielle never tried to reach out again, not really. She sent one email 6 months later, half apology, half blame. I never responded. Brian disappeared. From what I hear, he moved back to Florida and changed his number. Guess he didn't want to be part of the mess he helped create. As for me, I sold the house. Bought a small cabin 3 hours outside the city, surrounded by pine trees, silence, and space to breathe. I wake up early. Brew my own coffee. I go on hikes. I read. I don't check my phone first thing in the morning anymore. And that bonus she stole? It came back with interest, legally enforced and fully recovered. I used it to launch a small consulting business. Nothing flashy, just quiet work with good people. And in a strange way, I'm grateful. Grateful that I saw her true face before we had kids. Grateful that I listened to the silence between us instead of ignoring it. Grateful that I trusted my gut and didn't explode. People think revenge is loud, angry, explosive. But the real revenge is quiet. It's peace. It's watching someone walk away thinking they've won, only to realize too late that you were never the weak one. You were the storm. Danielle took my bonus, my trust, and my time. But she couldn't take my integrity. And in the end, that was the only thing that mattered. She tried to build a new life by destroying mine. But I rebuilt mine from the rubble, stronger, calmer, and completely free. Soft pause, music fade in. If you've ever been betrayed like this, you're not alone. And if you think you can't come back from it, you can. I'm living proof. If this story hit home, consider subscribing. We share real stories from people who walked through fire and came out whole.